We bring in people from all over Brazil, from abroad, but especially from Brazil. And, people come in from other cities and they participate in this. It really is the largest, liberty movement and event in Brazil and in Latin America, actually. So the idea is, we bring in all these people and it's a deliverable for that our members and our directors are contributing to society.
This is Atlas Network with Michael Carnuccio.
Hi, and welcome to Atlas Network with Michael Carnuccio, the show where we spotlight courageous freedom champions transforming their countries from the inside out. Today's episode takes us to Brazil, where a group of young entrepreneurs founded a classical liberal organization during the country's military rule. And in the 40 years since, they've trained a generation of leaders and shaped the conversation on freedom throughout Latin America. Joining me today are Hugo Muller, Vice President, and Alan Elbling, Director at the Institute, or IEE, which is a finalist for the 2025 Templeton Freedom Award. Now, IEE's legacy is staggering. Graduates who've gone on to serve as ministers, legislators, business leaders, and even write and pass Brazil's landmark economic freedom law. So what does it take to build a freedom movement that lasts? And how do you train leaders who can transform both markets and governments? Well, we're digging into all of that today and more. So thank you for being with us. Buckle up. We've got an exciting conversation coming. And I want to start right there. Hugo, Alan, IEE helped create one of Brazil's biggest pro-market reforms in recent history, known as the Economic Freedom Law. What did it take for a think tank like yours to actually shape national legislation?
Hello, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here with Atlas Network and with you. IEE is a Business Leaders Institute. So our main focus is not even shaping public policy, but that's something that happened organically over the years. And the impact that we had in the economic freedom law, it's being seen all over the country. So basically what happened is we had several alumni from the Institute in the Ministry of Economy when this law went through Congress. And also in the city. So the law is basically a framework that allows businesses to start their operations quicker and reduce bureaucracy to businesses overall. And so this framework also should be applied in the cities. So basically this framework allows the cities to reduce these bureaucracies. And as I said, we had people in the Ministry of Economy to shape this law, and we also had people in the mayor offices. So the vice mayor here of Porto Alegre was one of the IEE alumni, and we also had several other people that helped that to happen. And they also passed this law in the city of Porto Alegre, which is where the real impact is seen. So in the individuals that want to open businesses with lower levels of bureaucracy and papers to fill, let's say like that. And that caused a really big impact in the society. And that's the whole point of IEE. We develop people that impact positively society. We focus on business leaders, but over the years, several of our associates went also to public policy shaping, and the economic freedom law is just one of the examples that we have that impacted positively society in terms of the values that we share here.
Well, and let's talk about another one of the ways that you have big impact. Alan, I want to bring you into the conversation here. Can we talk about the Forum da Liberdade, where there's over 5,000 entrepreneurs and young leaders that you all bring together? I mean, this has to be one of the largest festivals that I've heard of that happens throughout the worldwide freedom movement. Alan, can you talk a little bit about that and how that happened and what's happening there?
Absolutely. So IE was founded in 1984 and always by young business leaders. So every current associate of IEE since the beginning needs to be between 21 and 35 years old. So it's always young members, and that's to bring in the members and participate actively in shaping society. And our the way we manage the directors is they just have 1 year leadership program. So every year we change the whole team of directors. And one of the main focuses almost since the beginning, we're doing our 39th edition of the Forum da Liberdade, is to create a forum and deliver that as our contribution to society through everything that we have learned through IE. So the forum started, we're coming in to our 39th edition. And the idea is to bring in all of the ideas that we talk about weekly in our meetings in IE. We currently have 60 members. And to create a forum where we bring in people from all over the world and showcase that to society. So we bring in speakers from the United States, many countries in Europe, and really all throughout the world, and they are able to have a platform to teach students and participants in society about what we are actually studying in IE. And it has grown a lot over the years because it really is a meaningful event that actually the whole city looks forward to every year. So it's always a big commotion to participate in the event because we can meet people from all around the world and get in touch with ideas that most of society is not used to hearing, and the ideas of freedom and like Hugo said, you got to reduce bureaucratization and create a freer society. So the Forum da Liberdade really has that objective, and we're working on it and already organizing the event for April next year.
Yeah, if I can comment on that, Michael, I think IE evolved during the years, mainly because of our principles and our values that we share between each other. So that the history of IE started in 1984 with 25 young people that wanted to give business leaders a broader vision of society. And throughout the years, the Forum da Liberdade was one of the main tools that we took in order to do that. Just to give you some numbers about Forum, we had almost 100,000 participants, attendees over the years. And last year we had 5,000 attendees. So basically, it's a huge event. We also receive high quality people. We had 6 Nobel Prizes, 11 head of state in the forum to share the ideas that they had. So it's a big pride for us because every year we change the directory, and the board needs to take this legacy and renew and innovate on top of it. So that's and that's something I would like to mention. Me and Alan are here today as vice president and director, but next year another person will be here. So we are representing an institute that renews its leadership every year. So again, we are just representing a legacy that others helped to build over the years.
Wow, this is fascinating, but I need to ask, because I'm sure you face the criticism. I could just hear people say, this can't work, right? You change leaders every year. That has to just create chaos. And can civil society really have that much impact on a country as diverse and as large as Brazil? What would you say to a skeptic that came at you that way?
Yeah, I think that this change of management every year is one of the main reasons why we can engage so much and have that much impact. I always say that if you change every year and you have new people coming in and seeing closer the legacy of what we did over the years, you have much more people involved in the movement and dedicated to making it happen. So outside of it, you keep innovating. So the culture of the institute and the principles that we share are kept so strongly because our alumni that went through the institute and have this gratitude for the institute, they keep together with us for keeping this culture alive. So that's one of the reasons that I think this change of management is so important. It's kind of different from a regular governance of an institute, but it's one of the main reasons why we have so much impact. And also that going through the years, again, allows our associates to go through and do other things across Brazil. And of course, we have a lot of criticism and people from all over criticizing the movement overall. But I think the impact is so huge that you can't deny it anymore.
Yeah, just to complement Hugo, Michael, the idea of the institute really since the beginning, it's a development cycle for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and so the idea is that you're developing these leaders, and that the last stage of development is a position of leadership where you're a director or a president or a vice president. So the idea is really it's a 4 or 5 year, 6 years, depending on how fast you go through the program. But there really is a stage process to the institute. So you come into the institute, we have a selection process where we have a lot of applicants that come in. We have to we're actually going through this right now, is we're in our selection phase. So we have to select the new class that's coming into the institute. So we make the selection, and then they're in, let's say, a phase 1. So the idea is that in the phase 1, they have to do some specific things, which is specific readings. They have to publish some articles. They have to participate in the institute to get to know the ideas and what we, our values and our beliefs. And of course, there's many different beliefs within the institute. We disagree on many things, but the structure, they have to understand the way it works. And then in the second year, we also divide them into groups. So we have coordinators of the institute. So we decide on these coordinators, and they become the coordinators of these selected groups. So we choose 8 coordinators, and then there's a competition within the institute for readings and articles and things like that. So we do have a gamification of the institute. So that's sort of the second stage, where you become a leader of your peers. And then the third stage really is you start to become more directly involved in the institute or the organization of the institute. So we have to invite people to come and make presentations and bring in people, and that's more of the directors. And then finally some people become presidents. Of course, not everybody can become a president, but that's the idea. It's a development cycle, and sort of the main deliverable of the directors is the Forum da Liberdade, because that's an event where we present our ideas and we bring everybody together to present it to society. So we bring in people from all over Brazil, from abroad, but especially from Brazil. And people come in from other cities, and they participate in this. It really is the largest liberty movement and event in Brazil and in Latin America, actually. So the idea is, we bring in all these people, and it's a deliverable that our members and our directors are contributing to society. But the idea is that people can actually leave IE. So the idea is not that we stay here. You go through this development cycle, and then you get out and you impact society in a different way through the ideas that you learned in IE. So that's how actually, we were talking a little bit about public policy. And so that's actually really what happened. We have people that went through the institute, and they decided to dedicate themselves to public policy, and they had a huge impact in Brazil. Actually, in the federal level, like Hugo was saying, in the federal level, passing the laws, but especially in the municipal level, where we have to implement the laws, which is many times the harder thing to do. And so that's a little bit about how the institute works, and our idea is that we have to develop leaders, the next generation of leaders in Brazil.
This is fascinating. And as you were explaining everything, I'm thinking about this concept of the coaching tree that we hear about a lot in professional sports, whatever the sport might be, where young athletes or coaches will learn and then they'll go on and they may change their particular sport or the game by something they learned, but they all kind of, you're talking about something that in the analogy, they might go to other sports or go into business or go run government, but they've all been kind of part of the shared experience and learned together, formed relationships. This seems extremely powerful. So it begs the question about your particular stories, right? Who is Hugo? Who is Alan? How did you get involved in IEE? And why have you gone through these phases? Because I'm sure you had other peers that were with you that have not advanced so much. So take us back, if you wouldn't mind. Hugo, you go first. What is your background and your story?
Great, Michael. Yeah, and just to complement on that and explain a little bit about why I'm here. As we said before, IEE focus on business leaders. So basically, every associate in the institute needs to be connected to a business. So basically, all of us, we work as a volunteers here. We don't have any like, it's not our fixed job running the institute. We have other jobs apart from that, me and Alan. And we need to be connected to a business, and that's mainly because we believe that, first of all, businesses are the proportion of the society. So we need businesses to go well in order to do that, and we need good business leaders in order to impact positively in society, and leaders with a broader vision of the world. So that's the concept. And as Alan said, we went a lot of ways after going through the institute, but that's the core, that's the beginning, that's where it comes from. So basically, I am an engineer, so I am graduated in engineering, and my family has a chicken business. So basically, we have been in the chicken business for more than 60 years. So I basically were born inside a business. And also in my professional side, I went into finance. So I basically work with M&A and finance consulting. So basically, that's my background. I am a partner of a company in, let's say, investment banking, and my family owns a chicken business. So as I said, I'm not a professional in terms of the institute. I'm a volunteer, but of course we take very seriously the work that we do, and that's why we dedicate ourselves so much in order to make everything happen. But in my personal side, I have a family business, and I have my own business in terms of professional activity.
Alan, same question for you.
Yeah, great question. We have associates of all different sorts of businesses and lives. So, but for me, I actually, I studied in my family story is my dad. He grew up in the United States. My grandfather, he was born in Poland, and he's Polish Jew, and he had to immigrate to Canada. And so I have a lot of connection to the United States. And actually, I did 2 years of high school in the United States, close to Boston, and then I went on to do my university at Notre Dame. So I'm an engineer, a mechanical engineer from Notre Dame, which is not usually the sort of background that you have at the institute. But I studied at Notre Dame, and then I went to work for a large multinational in Cleveland and Milwaukee. So I lived there for a few years. And then I came back to Brazil, and now I work at our family business as well. We have a business here in Porto Alegre where we manufacture automation equipment. So we manufacture access control equipment. We manufacture ATMs, self-checkouts, and all sorts of parking equipment. And so, after a few years living in the U.S., it was a company founded by my grandfather as well, just like Google, so third generation. and now I'm working in the family business for the last 6 years, 5 years. And so, yeah, and then when I came back to Brazil, I started to get involved with IE and the Institute. And, it was also a way, because I lived so many years away from Brazil, it was also a way to get to know society and get to know different people and people who thought, had values similar to my values. So that was very interesting to me to become a member of the Institute. Um, and bring in some of the things that I learned, and also learned, a tremendous amount of different subjects in the Institute. So that's a little bit about me.
So you mentioned this point, and I was wondering this idea of kind of meeting others that have similar ideas or thoughts, right? So as you're describing the Institute, I'm picturing young leaders that may have a business background, either from their family or their studies, that kind of understand, and they're starting to realize, or maybe they've never really been exposed to classical liberal ideas, that they get involved with the Institute and they start hearing Hayek and von Mises and the rest. There have to be some aha moments, some like, wait a minute, is there a particular story from a peer or your journey through that are one of these aha moments that you could share with our audience?
Yeah, I think there are several stories about that, and I think that's one of the main goals of our institute, per se. So we bring people that wouldn't be reading Hayek, von Mises, and many others into this world, and try to pass through them and go through these principles and concepts that we think are the most valuable ones for society, which is basically freedom overall. And we had several cases, but I think that the concept is we bring people, even though they don't fully believe in our values from the beginning. We try to, if you are someone that is going to be a leader someday, even though you don't believe exactly as we do in our principles, we try to bring those people in and try to share with them with like weekly sessions and a lot of readings and things that those principles have value and should be shared in society. So basically, I think those people that aren't that much aligned and get into the institute and start like having confrontations with people that have been studying that for a long time. I think those moments are kind of I think why the institute exists. So that's why we disagree that much. We have a lot of debates and things, and that's the concept of the institute, bringing in people that will be relevant in society in order to influence that positively in the end. I don't know, Alan, if you have a specific case to share, but I think this concept and the ones that I see the most is people that don't believe in what we believe in the beginning, and in the end they are like fully engaged and fully involved with the ideas and what we share, and of course we will impact society positively in the future with these ideas. That's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. There's people that come into the Institute with a huge different variety of backgrounds. So there's some people that come in and, they've read, pretty much all of the books that we recommend, so they have a huge background and they already sort of know about IE, and they've studied the subject, and they come in with that sort of background. But there's other people that, are business leaders and are involved in other aspects, and we think that they would benefit a lot from these readings and these values. And in my case, I looked at politics. I was interested in what was going on in the world. And I had read some books, and Rand and, Atlas Shrugged and sort of some of these books, but I had no idea the depth of the knowledge when I came into the Institute. So, I had read some books, but then when I got in, they said, no, you got to read all of these other books as well. And then when I started reading it, I started to understand, look, wow, this is a lot deeper than what I had thought initially. Because sometimes you look at politics and you think, oh, this sort of clear direction and what we have to do. But when you start reading, and the more that you study, the more you notice that the less you know, right? And so that's sort of the aha moment, I guess, is sort of the depth of knowledge, and trying to understand how some of these philosophers and thinkers thought. So that was, for me, that was a tremendous amount of value, and one of the reasons that I dedicated myself to the Institute and decided to give up so much of my time and to the ideas of the Institute here.
If I can comment on that, I think IEE is basically a process. So when I got into the Institute, I think every situation is different. But I always say that I got into the Institute, so like, okay, I will hang with these people here, will read and study, but I wasn't expecting to give all of myself to the Institute from the beginning. So I didn't even know IE that much. I went to a couple of forums before, but I didn't know that much. And I think during the process, as you meet people, as you share with people, as you see these ideas confronting themselves within the Institute, and you read more and you get more depth of knowledge, I think that the involvement and the relevance that it takes in your life, it becomes much bigger. So I got into the Institute 5 years ago, expecting to stay like 3-4 years, do my studies, participate, and go out as an alumni. And I'm right now in my second management board. So I'm in second year working basically half time for IEE. And that basically grew in me during the process. So I didn't expect last year I didn't expect to be vice president. Before that, I didn't expect to be a director. And before that, I didn't expect to read that much, to give all of myself that much for the Institute. And I think that's all about the environment that we build, the culture that we have, and the strength of the Institute. One thing that I would like to mention, Michael, just a side benefit, another side benefit of the Institute, which is huge as well, is that IE is so strong, and you realize that when you are in the Institute and when you go outside of Porto Alegre, which is our city, and we influence several other institutes across Brazil to have the same information process that we have here in Porto Alegre. So basically, we started 41 years ago right now. So last week we had our 41 birthday. And in the early 2000s, some business leaders, some huge business leaders in other cities like São Paulo and Belo Horizonte, they liked so much what they have seen in Porto Alegre that they wanted to expand that to Brazil. So basically, today, there is several other institutes across Brazil that replicate the exact same formation process that we have in IE. So that's more or less 15 other institutes. That's also, they are independent institutes. They have their own boards of directors and everything else. But the process and the things that we do, it's more or less the same. So we have other forums across Brazil that also are organized by these institutes, other business leaders being studying the ideas of freedom across Brazil. And that's influenced by, of course, there's a lot of people involved in that, but that's also influenced through IE, let's say like that.
So let me ask you this kind of advice that you might be able to give to your peers that are running other organizations that have a specific objective of reaching future leaders. They're trying to reach young people, whether it be that are in high school right now or still in a school or a university environment, or that are young professionals. Many organizations throughout the worldwide freedom movement are hyper-focused on this. You all are doing it very successfully, right? And having generational impact. what advice would you give to your peers about what you've learned works, maybe through your own story or the IEE kind of system that they should try to adopt?
I would say I would say for for personal experience and what I think about that, Michael, that the involvement of the people in the movement, it's very important in order to for them to have the conscience and understand what they are working for and what they are studying. IE the IE makes that the associates are involved in the organization of a process that impacts society. So you feel part of it. Basically, when you enters the institute, you are someone that is learning, and in the end, you are someone that is doing something. You are engaged in the movement. So I think this kind of engagement and this kind of sense of that you belong to the movement, it's something that is very important in the process. That's my feeling. It's one of the tips that I will give to anyone starting something. And of course, you have to have impact over the years and maintain strong principles, a strong culture within the institute. But making everybody feel that they belong to something bigger than they are doing right now, it's something that I think changes the perspective.
Yeah, just absolutely agree with Hugo. And just to complement, I think some things that we do that are a little bit perhaps different than other institutes is first of all, the idea of ownership over the institute. So all of our members, they are, and the current owners, let's say, of the institute are the current associates. Even though we're 40 years old, if we decide to do whatever we want to decide to do, we just vote on it and we can do it. So there's a complete sense of ownership over the current members. So even though we're young, we're all less than 35 years old, there's an aspect of responsibility, but also ownership, and so the directors and even the members, the thought is we need to have responsibility over the institute, and we have the whole financial department. We have to take care of the bills. We have to take care of every aspect of the institute is our responsibility. And so this sense of ownership and this sense of responsibility is very strong within the institute. And the members, our alumni, they help with contacts, and they help with tips and things like that. But really, the day-to-day operation of the institute, it's 100% part of the directors, and that transfers every year. So this sense of responsibility, like you're the owner, it transfers every year. So I think that's perhaps a little bit different than other institutes, and why people get so attached to it.
Yeah, certainly.
And just to add to that, I think there's a culture within the institute that was grown over the years, and of course it changes over time. But sort of this culture that the more I learn, the more in depth I go, the more I get back from the institute. And so it really is something that all directors and all presidents say, and it really is true that the more dedication that you give to the institute, the more personal growth and the more you develop yourself as a leader. And so, that's something we truly believe in. And even though we could be dedicating ourselves perhaps to our own businesses and to other things, we make time to dedicate ourselves to the institute, because in the long term, we believe that this dedication, today will have a greater impact for us in the future. And so this sort of, you dedicate yourself now, and you're going to get a lot in return. So I think those are a few things that perhaps are a little bit different than other institutes, but really the culture that was built is, there's our selection process. It's tremendously difficult right now because we have we can only have 60 members, and there's a lot of people that want to get in, and so this culture that it's a privilege to be here. So make the most out of it. And if you're not dedicating yourself to the institute, maybe somebody else would be more dedicated. So that's sort of the idea behind the institute at the moment.
Yeah, this concept of ownership that you bring up is an interesting one, and I'm juxtaposing that with what I think a lot of organizations probably do when they engage young people. They're talking at them. They're presenting ideas. They're putting events on for them to network, but really it's speaking at them rather than giving them ownership. So I'm encouraged by that. I think that's something our audience can definitely grow from. And by the way, if you're listening to this or you're watching this conversation and you want to learn more about IEE, their model, and even Alan and Hugo's story, go to atlasnetwork.org and you can learn everything about IEE and see what they're doing in Brazil. And in fact, learn more about their nomination for the 2025 Templeton Freedom Award. And I want to kind of steer the conversation there to IEE's relationship with the Atlas Network. It's been said by past IEE leaders, and I think you all have even commented this previous year, that Atlas Network has been integral to IEE's growth and success. Why do you say that? What is it about the partnership that you find value?
I think there is various aspects of that, and we value a lot our relationship with Atlas for numerous aspects. I have been to the Freedom Dinner and the Liberty Forum for the first time this year, and it was both impactful for the Institute and for our growth, as well as for me. I think that's the whole goal of the Institute that we were talking about before, that you feel the difference of every Atlas network action in the Institute and yourself. So you feel inspired by that. That's the third thing, which is very meaningful. We also had a support of Atlas Network for a long time right now in the Forum da Liberdade. So we developed this relationship, and Atlas have been providing speakers and financial support, and also guiding us through the best practices in order to make our event bigger and more impactful. So that's the whole goal of this relationship. I think trying to maximize the impact of the Institute through a network of people that are engaged and willing to participate in the movement. So in Forum da Liberdade, I think we have a long relationship with Atlas Network. We were in the last events of Atlas to meet people, to know different speakers, new point of views that we can bring to our audience, and also to our business leaders that are being educated within the Institute. So we can try to exchange this kind of knowledge that you share in the events and in the courses and everything else with our associates and in the forum. So that relationship, it's meaningful because of that. I think that's the whole process, the whole things that we are a part of, is that we can continue doing better every year and continue growing. And Atlas Network, it's a huge part of that, of course.
Yeah. Just to compliment Hugo, I think sometimes in Brazil is also a large country, and we many times think, about our impact in Brazil and our impact in how we can change society, and to get the recognition, from such a large organization, such an influential organization, into some of the things that we're doing, it really, emboldens us to really try to do more, and to do really more profound work. And I think that, the depth of knowledge that the Atlas Network has, and that can support us with some of this, with the speakers, and with everything else that you guys support us with, it it really brings another dimension to our events where we have access to the level of speakers that and the support that you guys have. So it's we're incredibly thankful, and we really are dedicating ourselves here to try to impact our society, really impact Latin America and all of the world. But when we can have the recognition and the support from international organizations like the Atlas Network, it's
Yeah, and also, Alan, I would like to add to that, because I think one of the main things that once you go to an Atlas Network event or course, you see the what everybody else is doing. So sometimes we are very in the south of Brazil, so we are like very in the, let's say, end of Brazil. So we are very far away from a lot of things in the world in terms of geography, of course. And Atlas Network provides an environment where we can see what everybody else is doing and try to bring that to us, and also enable us to do that. So I think that connection that you have through Atlas Network with the rest of the world, I think is also something that is super valuable. And I just been, as I said, in the institute, you take a different role every year, and I started to understand a little bit more Atlas Network. Let's say last year, when you go to a management job, you start to go to the events and start to meet people and talk about the future of the institute. And once you know more, you see how big the movement is, how many things are being done across the globe, and how other people can help you to do more here in Brazil as well. So I think that's the whole point. There we could say several aspects here, but I think those are the main ones.
Well, so there is in American college basketball, right? There's something called the Final Four. And for teams, Alan, you're nodding, right? I'm sure at Notre Dame, there were a couple of teams while you were there that thought could make a run. But what is so unique about the Final Four, and I'm bringing this up because from the first time that I got involved with Atlas Network, running an organization, I found the Templeton Freedom Award to be similar, that from all over the globe, from different continents and different regions, there are these competitions, and then there's a winner, and all of them go to New York and compete together. And winning your Templeton Freedom Award or being recognized and nominated just to make it to New York is like a championship in and of itself, almost like making the Final Four is big for some universities, even if they don't win the championship that weekend. So what was it like for you all, an organization with 40 years of history, with hundreds of leaders, to then come to a point where IEE is recognized on this global stage and basically makes the Final Four of the worldwide freedom movement? Was it just internal with the organization right now? Oh, this is neat. Or did you have past leaders and others that were involved that this had significance for them as well?
Yeah, if I could comment on that, it was honestly, Michael, very special for us that moment. I was able to present IEE in front of in the stage, and that's first of all a pride for the people that are there being recognized. As we said, we are representing a legacy of 40 years. We are here now, another person will be here another year, and we are representing a legacy. And a legacy that we are working for every day, and we are basically giving our time to the Institute, and being recognized for the job that all the others have done over the years is something super meaningful. I would just like to point out one aspect. We had with us in the Freedom Dinner, in the ceremony at New York, one of the founders of IE. So William Linge, which is the first president of IE. He was in our video presenting IEE. He was there with us. And you could see in his eyes, like, I with 25 other people started this institute. I was the first president, um, and we are here right now in a global stage because of the job that, of course, he has done, and a lot of other people have done as well. Being recognized for that is something that was super meaningful. I think, of course, within the institute and outside the institute, we have been congratulated for several people, and that's something that has a meaning to the culture of the institute. We are talking a lot about how deep our purpose and our principles are, and that's something that strengthens that tells us that we are in the right path. As I said in the presentation in the stage, this is just the beginning. We're gonna have other people here next year that will want to do more for the movement, for the institute, and of course with Atlas Network in the future. And we are sure that we have a long path ahead of us.
Yeah. Just to complement that, I think it really shows this recognition really shows the power of ideas and action. So sort of this small group of people in 1984, 25 people got in a room and decided to start this thing because they thought it would it could impact society, and they had big dreams and goals back then. And the sort of the after 40 years and hundreds or thousands of people to dedicating their time and their effort to this institute, to get this recognition, it's a tremendous honor for us and for everybody that came before us, because really we change our members, and they go on to do to impact society in different ways. But this recognition really showed, look, sort of this effort, it is recognized, and it is valued, not just in Brazil through the impact that we're causing here, but in international stage. So I think it was a tremendous honor. And this the support, really, it's not just about the financial support, but really the support that you guys give. It really shows that we're in the right direction, and we want to cause an even bigger impact than we cause today.
So we've come to the portion of the conversation, the end of the program, where I get to throw a couple questions rapid fire at you guys, but really bring the audience into your neck of the woods, as I like to say. And I'm a big foodie. I love to eat. And I'll tell you, earlier this year, I had the opportunity to be in Rio for a little bit and had some amazing food and some unique experience. And by the way, Brazil has some really good beer. I learned about that. That was not something I was ready for when I went. But if we came right now and we were at IEE's office or gathering, having this conversation, and then we said, all right, let's go grab some dinner together or some lunch or whatnot, what are we eating? What is the dish that we have to have in Brazil?
Just let me interrupt, Hugo, because I think he's going to be extremely biased in answering this question.
Yeah, he's going to tell me to eat chicken, isn't he?
To eat chicken. So I just have to preface that.
But I'm sure we're going to say the same thing, Alan. You would say chicken as well, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure we're gonna say the same thing, and it's not gonna be chicken. I'm sure of it. You can say that, Alan. No. Yeah. So I don't have problems at home.
Brazil is very large, so different regions have many different foods. But for us here in the south of Brazil, what we're really proud of is churrasco, which is our barbecue. And there's a Brazilian barbecue in the U.S. now, and so it's every major city has the Brazilian barbecue. But that company actually started here in Porto Alegre, and so that's our tradition. It's our food. It's our Brazilian barbecue, and it's different than Uruguay. It's different than Argentina. So it's sort of our tradition. And with that, if you like the beer, but we also We also drink. There's actually a lot of wine production in Rio Grande do Sul, which is growing a lot. But also the most typical drink in Brazil is the caipirinha. So I don't know if you've ever had that, but I'd pair that as well.
And also to mention, and of course, I would say, even though my family is in the chicken business, I would say churrasco as well, because that's something that the gaúcho, which is the name that we call ourselves here in the region, it's the tradition. And also, I would like to say that we would drink a chimarrão, which is a kind of tea that we have, which is typical from our region here. And it's something like a tea with a kind of a straw, a metal straw that you put in it. So those are the dishes and the drinks that we would have in our region here.
So one of the other things that I always hear from an Atlas Network partner, either when I'm getting ready to come visit them or when I say I'm going to be there next year or something, they will always start a phrase by saying, oh, when you're here, you have to do this, right? You have to. So everyone thinks of Brazil, they think of Carnival, right? Or they think of what they've seen from Rio and like Fast and the Furious, right? When they're driving all over and if we come to your part of Brazil and we come to the South, what do we have to do when we're there?
I think one of the nicest things that you can do here in our part of Brazil, and it's kind of different from what people expect when come to Brazil, is going to the wine production that we have, the region that has the production of wine here. You have really good hotels and places to drink and to enjoy with your family and or kids or girlfriend or wherever you bring with you. So I think in our state here, which is different from Brazil, I think the cities of Bento Gonçalves, for example, it's a beautiful place that you can see in our state, and it's kind of different in Brazil than the rest of Brazil.
If I could add to that, I would also definitely recommend going to a soccer game, or we call it football, but a soccer game, because I've been to a lot of football games, I've been to basketball games, I've been to baseball games in the U.S., but the way that the passion and the way that people watch soccer in Brazil, it's very, very different. So if you ever have the opportunity to go to a game, I'd invite you to come to a Grêmio game, which is my team, of course. But really, if you go to any game in Brazil, which is of one of the large clubs, it really is a different sort of experience, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. And Michael, if we'd like to extend the invitation, if you want to come to, and you and any of the listeners would like to come to the Forum da Liberdade, it's going to be the 9th and 10th of April. And so that'd really be a pleasure to have you guys here and to show you around and have some really good food and wine and enjoy Brazil.
Wow. Well, I'm honored by the invitation, and I think I'll take you up on that. Folks, make sure that you're looking for your opportunity to go down there as well and participate in a forum that the rest of the world is engaging in and has really become transformational. And I got to say, Hugo, Alan, my thanks to you guys and your colleagues at IEE for both an incredible story of local leadership and how that scales national impact, but especially for this conversation today. And for our audience, listen, if today's episode has inspired you, know this, the Atlas Network depends on your generosity and listeners just like you. And your support of $25 or more will receive a complimentary print subscription of Freedom's Champion magazine, but also will go to support organizations like IEE all over the world. And you can go to atlasnetwork.org right now and plug in with Alan, Hugo, and their colleagues and learn more about what IEE is doing. Join us on one of our upcoming Liberty Forums, our annual Freedom Dinner in New York, or the Regional Liberty Forum that'll be in Lima, Peru next year. for the Latin American Liberty Forum. And even better, travel with us on the Atlas Network experience, where donor communities connect directly with local leaders driving change. All of this can be found at atlasnetwork.org. Hugo, Alan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your leadership, and congratulations on all the impact that you all are having on the future of Brazil.
Thank you so much, Michael. And we're going to see ourselves in Peru next year, and after that in the Forum da Liberdade in April. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to talk to Atlas Network, and we are always available for you guys.
Yes, feel free to get in contact with us. We're extremely open and transparent. So please come and visit us. And it's been a real pleasure, Michael, to have this invitation to talk to you and to share our stories. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you all.